Real estate investment proposal for funding. All right, guys, we're going to talk all about a real estate investment proposal for getting funding, what it is, what it's all about, and what you need to know about it. But first off, thank you for asking this question, bringing up this topic. If you've got a topic you'd like to have me answer, type it in the comments below and I'll create a video like this for you and my other amazing YouTube subscribers. Thanks for being a subscriber. So here's the deal, guys. The question really here is, how do I put a proposal together so I can get someone to fund my property? So as we talk about real estate investments, there's lots of different investments out there, from commercial investments to having like storage units and all different types of things. And I'm going to take those out of the equation. What I'm going to talk about here, because this is more specific to our channel, is for a single family house or duplex, threeplex, fourplex, one that you're looking to fix and flip. I'm also going to take out of the equation here something you want to do as a rental property, because most of the time, if you're going to turn it into a rental property, what you're going to be doing is getting a bank loan on that, or getting some seller financing. So I'm going to kind of take that out of the equation. So what I'm going to kind of focus in on, or where I'm going to see the emphasis of this question actually being, is I want to talk a little bit about getting funding for a fix and flip or for a wholesale deal. And so how would you package this up, and how would you go about making this as somebody would be interested in funding this? And so the first and foremost, if you're looking at anything like this, it really comes down to value, because lenders are wanting to lend based upon loan to value, also known as LTV. There is also an acronym you should probably know about, which is ARV, after repaired value. So it's really important that you get comparables to show what the property's worth the way it sits and what's the property worth once it's fixed up. So what I'm going to want to see, if you want to have me fund a deal like that, is I'm going to want to see what you're buying the property for. I'm going to want to get a copy of the purchase contract. Second thing I'm going to know is what the property's worth. So I'd certainly love to see your comparables. I want to make sure those comparables are no more than a mile from the property. I want to make sure those comparables are no more than a year old from the time that they sold. And I'm going to want to have 3 to 4 active comparables, ones that are currently on the market wanting to be sold. And I'm going to also want to have 3 or 4 sold properties, right? Properties that have actually sold. And I'm going to want to make sure all those meet the criteria and they're like properties. I want them as close to the property as possible. I want them as close to the date as possible. And with those, we can start establishing what an after repaired value and as is value of the property actually is. And then I'd like to see your recommendation about what the as is and the after repaired value of the property is. Next thing I really want to know on the property is what you're planning on doing to the property. So I'm going to want to see a scope of work. I'm going to want to make sure that scope of work's really thought out. I'm going to want to see a contractor's bid with the pricing. Typically want to see 2 contractors' bids. I'm going to want to make sure that contractor is licensed. I'm going to want to make sure he's in good standings. I'm going to want to make sure that he has a resume, some references where he's worked before. I'm going to want to see those types of things. And then with all of that, I'm also going to want to see some track record on you. Have you done this before? Have you not done it before? I'm also going to want to get an idea if you have any collections or judgments. I'm going to want to get an idea what your credit looks like, although I'm not concerned about the credit. But what I am concerned about is how much if you have any of these collections or judgments. Your credit score is not as much of an issue, but collections, judgments, or recently in a bankruptcy, those are going to be concerns to me. That's what you would consider like a funding package. In addition to that, you're going to want to have like an application. You're going to have to put, where you live and your bank account and some of those types of things, some references that you can sign. In addition to that, I'm probably going to want to see a termite inspection. Most houses, you're going to want to have a termite inspection, and then I'm going to want to get boots on the ground and actually go and visit the property. The other thing that you're going to need is a title report, and this is something the lender will typically order and get that title report to make sure that looks good and they're able to get full title insurance. And you're also going to need hazard insurance. Now, I don't necessarily think you need to get that before you take your proposal for funding to an investor or to a hard money lender. That's something that can be done after the fact once you've actually sent that in to them. Now, some of this is overkill, and I'll tell you a story here to keep things in perspective as we talk about what you need to do for this proposal for funding. But before I do, hit that thumbs up button if you're enjoying this video. I would really appreciate it. What's overkill and what's not? So here's the story. Early on in my career, I went out, I spent money, I spent time, and I went and found a good deal. When I found the good deal and got it under contract, I went and tried to find some hard money lenders, and I found out none of them wanted to fund on my project, and I just couldn't figure it out. I had spent all this time and I've spent all this money, so I was really frustrated and I ended up having to pull out of that deal. So then I got smart and I called everybody back and said, what are you wanting to fund on and what aren't you wanting to fund on? What areas, what price ranges, what happened? I went through a bunch of things, and then I took that information and went and found a property that was within the criteria that they were interested in funding on. And that's one of the things I would say a lot of people make mistakes on, is you want to know who's going to be funding your deals long before you go looking for deals. You want to know what their criteria are, what they're looking for, what they don't like, what they do like, so that you have a pretty high probability that if you find a deal that matches those things, they're going to end up funding it. And that's one of the big tips that you can have that a lot of people make the mistake on, that I would recommend that you find out who's going to be funding your deals and go find deals that match their criterias. One of the things with these funding deals is you really need to reverse engineer your success. And what that means is you say, I want to do a deal. Okay, so to do a deal, you need to make some offers. And if you're going to make some offers, you're going to need some prospects, some people you talk to. If you need some prospects, you're going to need some leads. If you're going to need some leads, you need properties that may have motivated sellers that have equity. So how many of those are you going to need? And so you reverse engineer how to do that. And one of my favorites is driving for dollars, where you actually get in the car and find properties, add those to the list. So how many properties you're going to need to add, how many phone calls are you going to make. That's called reverse engineering your success. And one of the things that I've put together is what's called a next property roadmap, where it'll tell you it's going to take you on average, based on statistics, 20 weeks, 30 weeks, 50 weeks, based upon how many hours you can work a week, how many doors you can go drive by, how many you can add. And so you can put that together for yourself so you have a roadmap. It's not a guarantee, obviously, because it's just based on averages, and there's a lot have to do with the area you're in, the competition you're in, the price range you're in, and a lot of other factors. But what it does is it gives you a North Star. It gives you a direction to get moving into, and action creates productivity. As you start moving in the right direction, you start to see some progress, which is what we're looking for there. So anyway, if you'd like to get a free copy of my next deal property roadmap, you can text me your email address, 435-294-0433. Text me your email address, and we will send that over to you. I've also got a video, how to create house flipping partnership agreements. I'll put that on the screen so you can check it out. In addition, I've got a blog, how to present a real estate investment to potential partners. You can check out that blog post as well. If you're not currently a subscriber, please consider subscribing. I would certainly love to have you, and make it a very profitable day. Bye for now.